Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me today for another card making video. Today's our project share project blog hop. All the links will be in the description to my blog where you can then go and see what everyone else has made. And our theme for this month is clean and simple. Okay, so I'm going to be creating with this lovely Layers of Beauty stamp set and the With You in Mind set. So both of these are featured in the current annual catalogue. So just making a very simple background with that stamp, just using the line art, not doing any colouring or anything like that. Clean and simple. So just a simple stamp, simple sentiment, just popped up on some banners in this case. This is using the Nested Essentials, so I used two dies here. I used the largest and the second largest one to layer that up. This is Pool Party, Coordinating Pool Party cardstock, and Fresh Freesia for the sentiment. But for the sample I'm going to make today, I'm going to use one of the Everyday Arches. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, it's the fourth one that I'm going to use. I'm going to stick with the same sentiment. Could mix it up. There's loads of sentiments you could make. There's other sets like Layered Thoughts or something like that you could use, or the Reason to Celebrate. That's another good one that you could potentially use, and use smaller dies. But I'm going to stick with what I've got today just to keep things clean and simple. Okay, so obviously we'll do a different colorway, but essentially all we're going to use is some basic white and white willow cardstock. So this is the piece I did my die cutting from, so we're going to use that again to do die cut. And I've got another piece of white willow which will become my card front. I always tend to stamp on a layer, and then if I mess up, I can always flip it over and do that. So this is white willow just for some plain stamping, which measures 4 inches by 5 3/4, which will fit beautifully on my thick A4 basic white, which I've cut in half to make my top folding card base. So couldn't be simpler than that. So we'll just do some stamping now. So I'm going to bring in the stamping positioner. And we're going to use both plates today. We're going to use the smaller one for the sentiment, and we're going to use the large one for that that background. So I've already got this on here, but I've kind of figured that I'm going to potentially just do this a little bit differently, because I want more of the flowers showing. It sort of ended up struggling with where I was going to put the sentiment, so I think I'm going to stamp more towards the top, flip it round, and so we'll get more of the background covered with the stamp. So let's take this off, this big plate. We'll just take it off, just like a large acrylic plate, acrylic block really. It's got these little springs. That means that you can hover over the top to make this work. I might use the little positioning guide in the corner actually to see where I want to put this. Let's see, because I can then take that right up there over the top, in between those little little pegs that are keeping the paper in position, because I don't really want to go beyond halfway, because then I can flip it round and stamp it again. That looks about right. Let's try that. So I'm just going to use the little holes in the plate, latch those on there, and it's hovering over the top. There's nothing attached now, but as soon as I press down, that's going to pick up that stamp. Magnets are going to hold my cardstock in place. Okay, and then we can ink up our stamp. Okay, so I'm going to use Petal Pink today. Okay, colour I don't use lots of, but I wanted something nice and subtle for the background. I think something like Smoky Slate soft sea foam, lemon lolly, anything like that that's kind of pale. Obvious Pool Party, Balmy Bloom maybe, it's a little deeper. And then we've got Cloud Cover in the in colours. We've also got Pretty in Pink or Peach Pie. So those paler colours, if you want a subtle background, if you want to go bright, then go for it. So let's bring that in. We'll just reposition that. It's not going to have moved, and we're just going to press that down over the top there. Lift that up and just see whether we need to do anything else. So we've missed a little bit there, so let's put a little bit more pressure, and it'll be in exactly the same place, and hey presto, done. Okay, so don't mind if it's faded out a little bit in areas actually, because it's a background, so I think it'll be fine. So I'm going to twizzle that round now and put that other corner into that position. Let's replace the magnets, and let's just check our positioning of this. You know what, there's a little teeny bit of overlap there, but I'm just going to go with it. So again, we'll just re-ink the stamp. Just making sure we've got it well covered. We won't need that again, so let's just pop that away, or out of the way I should say. And I'll bring that back in, and again just hook it onto the things. This ink on the plate, but it's off to the side anyway, so it's not going to matter, but it won't transfer anyway. It's not making contact with anything. Nice firm pressure, and there we go. So yeah, there's a bit of overlap, but I reckon we're going to be covering that anyway. Okay, so hopefully we're going to end up with, yeah, see, we'll cover that up. We could make it a bit lower. We can do as whatever we like. We could make it higher, lower. Okay, right, so we're done with the big plate, so I'm going to pop that to one side, and we'll, yeah, while we've got it out, let's do the sentiment. So where did my scrap go? There it is. So just going to pop this into place. I'm going to go there, simply because I know that when I lined it up before, that was good. And we've got our smaller plate here, and I know that if I hook that on there and stamp there, that's going to give me plenty of room for my die cut to go round. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So my complementary ink, I'm going to bring in Cajun Craze. Now, when was the last time you saw anyone using Cajun Craze that wasn't in the autumn time? So let's use Cajun Craze. Okay, so let's pop that into place. It's got two little holes in there, and it goes on these pegs rather than these springy pegs, and we can just press that down, and just like the other one, if it's not great, we can always restamp it, but that's turned out perfectly. Okay, right, that's our stamping done. So we can pop this to one side now, and we can do our die cutting. I don't need that ink pad anymore, so let's cover that before that ends up somewhere that it shouldn't. Now I'm going to take this die all the way across so that it fits, and then we might trim off a little bit. So I'm just going to make sure that the U is straight. Okay, well, straight enough anyway for the eye. So let's, oh, and she moves it. Just a smidge of low tack tape on that, and we will just get that die cut. So as you can see on the other one, I added a little bit more of the Pool Party as a bit of a layering element, So we could totally do that. We could bring in some petal pink. It's coordinating ink for that. But with this rounded shape, it kind of, I don't know whether, I don't think it's going to look great. I don't think it's going to look right. But we could just do that anyway. Let's just get those dies out. Okay, so we're going to end up with something like that, or do we use something slimmer? See, I don't think it looks right. I'm not going to add that on. Okay, I don't know particularly. No, shall we layer it? Should we cut it and see what happens? So I'll take the next die up, and I'm going to cut some petal pink. Okay, I did get some out just in case I wanted to use it, so let's just cut some and see what happens, eh? And then we can opt to not use it if we want to. So let's just run that through. Oops. Right, there we go. Here's petal pink. And we could layer that up on there. You know what? I might actually go with that. Cool. Okay then. Right, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to bring in my trimmer and I'm going to cut this down. Let's take it to about there. So I'm making that, cutting this down to about 2 5/8. So let's make it easy. Let's cut off 1/2 inch. That's easy to remember, right? Let's get that positioned and we'll cut off 1/2 inch. Okay. And let's get this layered up. So I'm just going to use Stampin' Seal for this. You use the glue that you prefer. If you're a wet glue person, go for it. So I want this edge to be perfect, so I'm going to make sure that that's lined up where I want it to, because we're going to cut off that excess, which you can do by eye if you want to, or you can bring your trimmer back in. Now this won't be 1/2 inch because it's a bigger die, so let's move that out of the way. So I'm just going to use the cutting track just to guide that. It's going to just about appear there, and I'm going to cut it there, and that's pretty close. Oops, that will do. A few little fuzzy bits there. If you get fuzzies, you can get one of these sanding blocks and brush those away. There we go. And that's going to have to go up on dimensionals, because it does. Because like the unspoken rule that you have to have something on dimensionals. I think I'm going to go with 5, like so. So we can take those off. I'll put that there. And let's layer up our card. So we'll just use some seal again. Oops. There we go, a little bit in the middle, and we'll pop this onto our card base. So I like to open it out so it's sitting flat. Don't think it matters which way up it is because it was symmetrical. So I'm going to line up that top edge, the edge on the right and the bottom edge, and then the rest should take care of itself. You've just got a moment just to make sure Now, so I'm left-handed, so I always support it in my left hand like that. As a right-handed person, you'd probably do it this way around. And we'll just make sure that that crease is reinforced because I bent it back. And then you've got to decide where this is going to go. And I'm thinking as high up as possible to cover up those overlapping portions. Okay, voila. So I've got a bit of white space there. You could, if it bothers you, you could have just inked a little bit more of the stamp, or use one of the smaller stamps in the set, just to fill that in. Okay, and for this one, I'm going to use antique pearls. It was iridescent pearls on this one because it fitted with the blue and purple. But I think for this one, with these sort of more natural tones, I can't find my pokey tool. There it is. I think the sort of creamy kind of colour of these gems is going to work out. And you've got the 3 sizes, which I love. And we'll pop one up there. Okay, so that's that. I did add little black dots on this one. I'm not sure that was a good idea. So I think let's see, I might just add just a teensy bit of gold. So I've just got one of these, an acrylic marker that I just got, and I'm just going to do 1 or 2 in some of these spaces in groups of little 3 of 3 just there, and it just sort of fills up that space a little bit, and it's super subtle. I won't go in over the top, but just means that there's something in that space a little bit, and that will just shimmer a little bit. Okay, so there's my clean and simple card. This one with Petal Pink and Cajun Craze, this one in Pool Party Fresh Freesia. Change the background a little just to make sure, just to get more coverage, and I suppose the sentiment could have gone over this blank space, and you can fiddle about with that. So 2 little options there in terms of colour and how you want to lay it out, all using the same stuff though. Okay, and really simple to achieve. I hope you've enjoyed it. So like I said, this is part of a well, it supports a blog hop. The link to my blog is in the description, and the products I've used are listed in there as well. Okay, so thanks ever so much for joining me today. Just a quick one, and I hope you're staying safe. Do take care, and I will see you again real soon. Bye bye.